Hello, everyone, and welcome to Co-Creation Station, the podcast where we talk about the law of attraction, the art of allowing, spiritual magic, the mind-body-spirit connection, and how to best enjoy this mystical, miraculous, mysterious, crazy, sometimes confounding, but always incredible journey we call life. My name is Collin. I'm located in beautiful, sunny North Hollywood, California.
My name is Stephanie Orlina. I am a transformational life coach, and I am in San Diego, California.
Thank you so much for listening or watching or both. We want to let you know at the beginning of the episode here that we often mention Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks, and just Abraham. We just use that one name. If you're not familiar with those names, go listen to last week's episode because we talk all about it. But also, in case you don't want to do that right now, Esther is a speaker and author who channels Abraham. Abraham is described as a group of entities from beyond our physical world who share their wisdom by speaking through Esther at workshops and speaking opportunities all around the world. You can find out more about them online by searching Abraham Hicks on YouTube or your web browser. You can also find them at their website, abraham-hicks.com. Each week we start our discussion from a different jumping off point, and this week we kind of racked our brains right before we hit record and didn't come up with anything super specific to talk about. So we thought I would pull an oracle card, and we would just base our discussion off that. So I pulled a card from the Work Your Light oracle card set of oracle cards by Rebecca Campbell, and the art and the writing in this set is really amazing. If you don't know what oracle cards are, they're kind of like tarot cards if you've heard of them, but they're just more specific. Like each card kind of has a more direct, specific meaning. But it's similar to tarot, I guess. This card, and if you're on the audio, I apologize. I'll try to describe the card visually as much as I can, but it's called The Crumbling, and it is a picture of like a giant two-pronged tower that is in the process of crumbling, and there's a giant opening and a big thunderstormy sky above and a lightning bolt coming down to strike the tower, which is causing the crumbling, I guess. And then beyond the tower, though, so you sort of know after it crumbles, there's this beautiful vista of like green fields and bright colored flowers and everything beyond it. Really pretty. And what's written on the card is The Crumbling. What are you clinging on to? And I will read from the description here. I feel like this is going to hit home way too closely for me. Sometimes I draw a card and I'm like, I'm frightened of this card and how truthful it's going to be. It's going to hurt a little. There is a shift happening right now where anything inauthentic can no longer survive. Relationships, jobs, social structures, anything built on shaky ground is destined to tumble down. It is happening to bring you back home to who you truly are, both individually and to our society as a whole. So you/we can live a life that is in alignment with who you/we truly are. When you're in the thick of it, it can feel like a personal attack from the universe. Have faith, because the difficult times will be your defining moments. You will be reborn in the fire. You are being called to surrender. Stop trying to hold it all together. Loosen your grip. Let the crumbling occur. It may be difficult at first, but in the end, the sooner you let go, the sooner the rebirthing will occur. What are you trying to hold together? What are you doing your best to avoid? How are you trying to pretend that everything is okay? You have what it takes to allow what is falling away to tumble and fall. Once the tower has crumbled, you'll be able to rebuild your home on solid ground with mighty foundations and a view that is so magnificent that it will take your breath away every new morning. Kali, the goddess of destruction, and the Black Madonna are with you now. Lay it all on their altar. They can hold it all for you. And there's like a final question, which is, what are you clinging to for fear that nothing is coming to take its place?
Dang it.
I was like, what should we talk about? I was like, pull a card. I'm sure something will come up. Good Lord. This is a heavy hitter. I mean, yeah, I'm a little.
Dang it. Can we hit stop record?
Yeah, if you
No, I'm just kidding. I'm being.
You've never done done that in 6 seasons, but I guess like
Oh, that is some heavy, deep
yeah,
questioning. Wow.
just off the top of my head. So maybe you have some time to gather your thoughts. I mean, I the reason this is so profound is like anything else. It's proven true for me on multiple occasions throughout my life, where um, and I feel like there's I had an anxiety when we were doing this of like, oh, we pretty much talk about the law of attraction, art of allowing, on every episode now, unlike season one. And I'm like, oh, I hope this card has something to do with the law of attraction. And I'm just like, whoa, because I think so often, we talked last week about on last week's episode about resistance. I think so much like when we have, what jumps to my mind is when I first moved to San Diego, I had this really beat up. I have a lot of gratitude for it, but a really beat up Honda Civic. And I just remember thinking like I could never, I can't afford a better car. I can't have a better car. This is, I'm stuck with this car that's got no air conditioning and a broken window in the back and all that stuff, and like wouldn't pass inspection. Um, and it's like there was this process eventually where like I had to, like I had to let go of that thing that just wasn't good for my life in order to. It does feel like there's this sort of unavoidable dynamic of like you have to let go sometimes of what is to allow the bigger, better, more harmonious thing to flow in. Like if you're clinging to something that doesn't work, I know you don't have any experiences with this, Stephanie, but if you're clinging to a relationship that doesn't work, you know, it's almost impossible, possibly impossible, to allow the right relationship to flow in because you're stuck in the energy of this doesn't work, but I can fix it. This doesn't work, but I have to stick with it. This doesn't work, but there's no other option for me. I really like the end, that last question where it says, "What are you clinging to because you're afraid that nothing else will come to take its place?" I think so often people stay in jobs they don't like because they're afraid they'll never get another job. They stay in relationships that they are not making them happy because they're afraid there's nobody else out there for them. They stay in an apartment that doesn't fit them because they just are, oh, I can never afford anything now that the market's gone up and blah, blah, blah.
Damn. I am like, Lord, this is heavy and deep.
I should have.
As you were.
Rebecca Campbell does not go lightly.
No kidding. Dang. Um, I'm kind of like at a loss for words. No, what was I thinking of? Oh, when you were reading that, what are you clinging to? Because you don't think that, what does it say? Nothing is coming to take its place. And when you're reading off like in a relationship or in a job or whatever, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about in last week's episode about, well, if I can't see it
Yeah,
with my eyes, then it doesn't exist.
that backwards.
Yeah, where who was that? Was it
Already here.
Wayne Dyer? But no, you have to believe it before you can see it. And a lot of us do the reverses. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's like, no, once you believe it, then you'll see it. Like what am I clinging to?
I'm definitely
Well,
talking about. I know I'm just gonna confess. I'm clinging to being single. I'm really clinging to being single.
speak more about that.
I mean, not. I know. I want to say not consciously. I'm not like sitting around, telling myself this, but I know that I have thoughts in my mind of like when I think about getting into a new relationship now. I have like, well, I think it's more about like I'm worried about dating. Like I'm worried that there won't be anybody out there. You know, like I don't want.
So then you're clinging to being single so that you won't need to start dating for fear of you put yourself out there, then you won't get a response.
Yeah, it's almost like I didn't mean to get this personal, but here we are.
That's what I was saying. This is a heavy question. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to go there with this. Like, throw like.
But also, like, I have the ulterior motive in every episode to get a free coaching session out of you through the podcast.
I'm not thinking about you right now, Collin. I'm thinking about me. I'm like, what am I? Wow.
hopefully other people can relate about this too. I think there's definitely a train of thought that happens in my brain sometimes. It's like the comfort that I have right now by not putting myself out there and not having to negotiate my life with anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
preferable to like putting myself out there and getting rejected, and like this, like this is something, even though it doesn't include what I want, like my single life is something. And then if I put myself out there and there's nobody there, then that's going to be devastatingly sad and lonely and whatever.
But that's a fallacy that
At
there's no one there.
no point did I say any of this was true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all made up, and it's all we've talked about before. It's all mental patterns that I recorded when I was younger. I'm sure.
Well, and
Um,
I think it's that whole limited thinking too. And even when we were talking in last week's episode about how you think that, and I think I remember hearing this too about the Aladdin with the three wishes. I feel like the original, whether it be a story or a real thing, and it's a real thing because it is real. We have infinite wishes. That it was an infinite, the Aladdin's lamp, it was infinite wishes, and somewhere along the line they changed it. It was changed to three wishes, and I'm like, that's such a deprivation, like limited thinking, that we can't have everything. Um,
yeah, because I think every time in my life when I've gotten into a relationship that had legs, that something that worked for quite a while, and I feel like I've heard this from people that are happily together, and when I have this conversation with them, is like there's this element of like, yeah, I don't know, like I just they showed up and we just clicked, and like that's basically saying that like it's not infinite, but like a lot of things have to line up for you and another person to get to feel that clicking. Like that's a lot of you have to be compatible, you have to be in the right time of your life for each other and all sort of stuff. And like we kind of just hand wave that when we talk about it, like, yeah, I don't know, I just we met at this thing and it's been great.
but it's all attraction, right? It all comes back to attraction.
That's what's not being said about that is that if you're in the vibration of welcoming the right person in for you to add joy and love and all this sort of stuff, then that person will just. That's what's embarrassing about doing this podcast and being single.
But no, wait. So here is another false premise is
Yeah,
that, I know for me, I originally wanted to do this podcast was because not nobody, very few people are talking about the law of attraction
right.
and the art of allowing, like working in conjunction with this law that it works, is everywhere, it's infinite. And so that was why. And of course, we're human. Like I have my resistance stuff. I have my stuff from my childhood. I have present day stuff. I have my limited thinking. And have I come leaps and bounds? Hella yes. And do I have more to go? Yes, because it's infinite. I'm always going to be growing up. Unless I don't, but I'm not that type of person to just stay stagnant and just, stay where I'm at forever. But yeah, and we feed off each other and we learn, and that's how, like I hear your stories and then I'm like, oh, that's me, or you hear my story, oh, that's me. And that's why we're here, because we don't do this perfectly, and it is a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And we have, like, I have my stuff too. I was telling you in friend time, like, I'm thinking, what the hell, I'm not dating someone regularly. I'm like, I would have thought for sure by now I would be. And it's only been 8-9 months since, no, it was in November that my divorce was final. I moved out in December, so I've been on my own for like 9 months. And I would have thought for sure I'd be dating someone awesome by now, not my forever guy, but at least someone super cool like me. And I'm not. And so that's my resistance, whatever that is. I don't know exactly pinpoint, okay. Fear of intimacy. Fear of intimacy, because when I saw that guy at the ocean and we just randomly chatted, and he was lovely. He's a nice human being, a good man. And but I thought I was going to be dating someone else, and I'm like, I don't think I'm a woman who can date two guys. I thought I was, but I'm not. I just don't have the time and energy. And I walked away from that situation, and I had noticed his shoes. He was dressed really lovely. He had nice shoes on, but they were a little worn. I picked that out. I don't know if I've said that here. That is super embarrassing. After chatting with some friends about it, it was like, oh, it was my fear of intimacy.
Mm.
Look, here is a guy. He even reminded me of someone that I dated in my 20s. And I thought, oh God, if I ever meet this man again, I apologize to you. If and I thought he lived with his mom, and I'm like, oh hella no, I'm not. If he's a mama's boy, I did that too in my 20s. No, thank you. I didn't actually date him. We were like, friends, and we were kind of interested in each other. But anyways, my whole point being, yes, we're all scared. Period. Let's be honest. I'm scared,
Yeah.
But I will say that when it's right, I just got chills again. When it's right, all of that stuff,
Doesn't matter.
it's gonna be there, and we'll deal with it later. They talk about the honeymoon, and then we get real with each other. I remember that happened with my last partner. First 3 months were bliss. 6 months in, we started arguing. We started having problems because the honeymoon phase was over, and then we were getting to see each other's stuff. And that happens in most every relationship, I think. But when it's right, when you click, you just click, and it's like that stuff is non-existent.
Yeah.
Like David that I met and who bought a house in Hemet. Oh, energetically, yeah, he's the essence of what I'm wanting. And it just wasn't a match. He lives in Hemet. I live in San Diego. There's no way I'm moving to Hemet. And he just bought a house there. He's not moving to San Diego. And I don't do long distance relationships. But if it was right, if we were supposed to, it would just click and we would move on. So
I feel like Hemet, California gets a bad rap for some reason.
I'm not a desert girl. I
feel like I've heard, because I'm not, this is neither here nor there, but just briefly, a brief side yeah, is like, as someone who's lived for almost 40 years on the East Coast and in Ohio, and then moved to California, not really having any reference other than what I saw on film and television, which definitely doesn't cover your day to day. I actually remember when I was in San Diego, I met somebody. I think it was an online dating accident kind of thing. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I met somebody who was in Hemet. I I had a really good couple of conversations with her on the phone or something, and then I looked on the map as to where Hemet was. That's a deal breaker. And then I asked somebody in San Diego what Hemet was like, and they were like, oh, no. And they're like, I can't really explain it to you, but like, no. But it's Hemet comes up a lot. Like now and then I find out that somebody lives there, or there's some sort of company that's based there that I wouldn't think would be there or whatever. But I don't know. I need to go to Hemet someday and see what all the
we'll both go. So yeah, I don't think I've ever been. I think I drove through like on my way to Big Bear or somewhere, but
it's far away and it's a much smaller community.
I think for me, and this goes back to a couple episodes where you were talking about, the woman who's beating the drum that there's no good men in LA, is like I'm starting to feel and believe that my guy's not from San Diego. Like he is from, somewhere like Hemet or Corona or in the Midwest, or just someone who
probably not
who grew up in there but has moved here, because they just seem more like grounded and down to earth, and that's what my guys like. So
I think I don't know if I mentioned it here. I think I mentioned it in friend time, because I am on a dating site right now. This is hilarious because I'm literally in resistance right now. Like, I just don't go on it. I have my profile. I think I'm even paying monthly for it, and I'm just not going. And it's partly because when I think of going on the site, to check my messages or to find people, whatever. I just have resistance. So the good thing I'm doing is like I'm not going on in resistance because I know what that will do. But I
Mhm.
obviously need to get myself in a better vibration and then go on. But and I've spoken. I went too far down the rabbit hole there, and I forgot what I was going to say. What we were talking about.
Well, I was saying that, I think my guy is from like Corona somewhere.
I found because I'm on OkCupid and they do this thing where you answer all these questions and you can answer like as many as you want and they just have endless questions. But then they do this comparison of like how do your answers match against this other random person that's on the site. And I got matched with this woman who lives here in LA, and I thought she was cute, and I was reading her profile. Everything seemed great, and then under like the whole do you drink, if so how often, do you smoke, if so how often, and I mean almost everybody today, at least in Los Angeles, is like don't smoke cigarettes ever. And this woman was like, I whatever the maximum you could choose. It's like I smoke regularly every day, something. I smoke cigarettes all the time every day. And I was like, I just laughed out loud. I'm like, I am not over my resistance because I got everything. She had everything I was looking for, but like I quit cigarettes years ago. It was one of the hardest things I've ever fucking do in my life. There's no way I could date someone who's smoking. So it's like, yeah. But the good thing about the art of allowing and the law of attraction, or one of them, is that what I also realized about that is that means I'm not too far away, because
Hmm.
that's what we call an indicator experience, where I was
Yeah.
somebody that was highly highly compatible with a with a twist that it isn't going to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I'm like a million miles from it. It means I'm actually close by, because it means my
Yeah.
vibration is pretty close.
Well, so did we just in this episode officially rename the co-creation station with Collin and Stephanie to Collin and Stephanie's? No, I'm going to say Stephanie and Collin's dating life.
Oh, you know what? I'm not totally. I was thinking like, oh, we shouldn't do that, because then what happens when we both meet our next person? We can't talk about the date. I mean, then but then it'll be the like,
Yeah.
how does the law of attraction work when you're in a relationship?
There you go. There you go. We're just going to add a tagline. Co-creation station with Collin and Stephanie and their dating lives.
All right.
Oh, freak.
I enjoyed that discussion. I hope you
What
did.
did we start with? Oh
The-
yeah. Oh yeah. To the fear, that fear for nothing is coming. What are you doing your best to avoid for fear that nothing is coming in its place? Got it.
Yep. I think. I mean,
That
really,
was a heavy duty question, man. Did any of you answer it? We want to know. Let us know what yours is.
put your answer to that question down in the comments.
And you can put it now in Spotify. We do have a little
Oh, really?
yep. Yeah, Spotify bought Anchor, and now there's like a little question place for people to answer. So
Since I turned all the tech stuff over to you, I have no idea what.
and because I haven't delved that deep into it, I couldn't tell him exactly how to do it, but there is a spot somewhere.
All right. Well, we're so happy that you joined us today, so that we could talk about our dating lives and what happened.
uh,
Point in September 2023, we're posting a brand new episode for you every single Monday morning. We truly appreciate you doing whatever your platform allows you to do to support the podcast. That helps other people find us. All our links and email address are down the doodly doo and YouTube below. We wish you a happy and abundant week. And if you are dating, we hope that you get your vibration in a great receiving state and have some great dates. And we'll see you next week on the Co-Creation Station. Bye, everybody.
bye.